Hello, this is Tam the TamBoTC channel. Hopefully you can hear me fine. And we're just in Bloodborne, but for the backdrop of the gameplay. The reason being is I want to talk about the Surge 2. I also want to say very briefly a couple things. First off, I'm sorry I forgot to mention Super Smash Bros. At Nintendo. Definitely looking forward to it. It's got like every character imaginable. Not going to spoil anything else though. But also I want to say Assassin's Creed looks awesome, but I have a problem with it being Assassin's Creed because it does not feel like Assassin's Creed. First off, it's taking place before the supposed origin story of the Assassins, and now it's like, what's it have to do with Assassin's Creed then? Why couldn't they just make it an entirely different game? They could have done the same. I mean, you could argue the modern day setting, but that's barely even in the game enough to warrant it that name still. So you might as well just take it out and do whatever. It's not even Assassin's Creed at that point. And the fact that the gameplay is changing so drastically towards more of an RPG than what Assassin's Creed was known for. I know there are some people who probably don't give a crud about the gameplay, but that's what made Assassin's Creed was its gameplay style, and now it's kind of taking that all away. Even though I had some gripes myself with the gameplay, like I felt like the controls in older Assassin's Creed games were kind of funky and weird. It's like the game hadn't had its mind of its own and was like saying, you're not allowed to climb this, so we're gonna make you climb down randomly. And it felt like the controls were fighting with me a lot of the time. And it's kind of a reason that even though Assassin's Creed 2 is amazing, I had the most trouble with 1 and 2. So, when it comes to it, there's a lot going on. Assassin's Creed, where is everybody and searching for these stinking things. Hold on. I gotta take care of something real quick. There we go. Some people were talking outside the window. Loud people. Anyways, the Surge is what 2 has been announced. And you guys know how happy I was about the first game. That game I did not feel like was worth the full price. It's $60, and after you buy like a couple of Dark Souls games for $60, you feel satisfied. There are tons of bosses, like up to 20 pretty much, maybe even more. And then you get this game, which technically has only 5 bosses. And I don't count the mini boss, like the one where it's just like this humanoid robot or whatever that attacks you randomly when you're in like a control room. I don't count that. That did not feel like a boss, and that was way too darn easy. So it's annoying. And the bosses are creative enough, except for stinking the I believe the fourth boss with the Cerberus guy. He was cool, and had one of my favorite armor sets, but he was a lame boss, and he used the very first boss in order to just be something that changed up the pace of that, but it really didn't work in favor of that boss battle. Once again, I hope you guys can hear me fine. But, yeah, I watched the gameplay. The other thing is the controls, like, the game feels like like when you combo into attacks, it feels like the game's doing extra combos that you just don't want it to. And it's really annoying. It's like the control, once again, it harkens back to what I was saying about the Assassin's Creed games. Like, it felt like the controls were arguing with me, having an argument. You like hit the button twice or maybe 3 times, and it does like a 6-20 hit combo or something with your character. It's like, okay, enough. I didn't press the button that many times. I pressed it 3 times, and you're like 20 hitting this guy, and now he's stinking staggered you. You're out of stamina, and he has enough of an opening to beat the snot out of you, you dink. You're wasting my stamina because I didn't press something. And that's kind of what goes into the feeling of the game's fault rather than yours. The fact that you only press the button a certain amount of times, but the game decides to do extra press, what would count as extra presses, wasting your stamina in the process, therefore leaving you in for an opening to be beaten the snot out of. And I did not feel like when you leveled up and such and put attachments on, that they really felt like they mattered. Your health did not feel like it went up. It visibly looked like it went up, but it did not feel like it went up. Enemies still felt like, even regular ones felt like they could still hit you in like 3 shots. It's ridiculous. That's not even counting what New Game Plus does to you. Just dumb on its own. There's not many great armor sets in the game, and though I like some of the concepts of the Surge, like their version of the VET system, targeting a limb and cutting it off for armor or a weapon, it's not enough to hold up the entirety of the game. I also couldn't get used to like the dodging controls. Like, I don't know what it was, but in between attacking and something like Dark Souls, I knew, and Bloodborne here, I knew which button to hit and when to time most of my dodges. And I absolutely love Bloodborne's control scheme, but dang, once you play a game like the Surge from something like Bloodborne or whatever, you really notice the difference, and that's not saying a good thing for the Surge, to be honest. It's just an ugly comparison by that point. And I'm hoping that the Surge 2 does better. I felt like they were trying to make themselves relevant too, because there was all this DLC stuff. By the way, the DLC is not worth 15 bucks. Like, those guys are literally scamming. It literally feels like a scam. 60 bucks for a game that only has 5 bosses. Or you get 60 bucks for a game that has more than 5 bosses, like 20. As a matter of fact, Dark Souls 1 on 360 is only like 10 bucks or whatever, and it comes with the DLC, which has an extra like 4 or 5 bosses. And I think you can fight the very first boss, the Sanctuary Guardian, but with 2 of them in the same boss room. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. And Bloodborne has a lot of that stuff, and it feels like it's more worth your money, and it's probably even cheaper now too with the whole bundle. They even have awesome collector's editions that I feel are worth it. Oh, I got kicked out. Something weird is going on with the connection for some reason. Sorry that you're not seeing much action go on. Maybe I'll just run around on offline mode and collect stinking blood echoes or something from these dinks. Whatever. Yeah, Surge needs to fix its controls. I did think that the weapon on the IGN gameplay demonstration looked pretty cool. I liked the moveset and such, but I want to feel the controls for that game to see how much of that is actually the player and not just the character waving rapidly at everybody. So let's actually go into the area after this. But yeah, I want to know how much of that is the player doing it and not the game. Alright, and it just fit, like, the DLC, by the way, only has 2 bosses. 2 for 15 bucks. You know how much the stinking DLC the Dark Souls was? Not too much more than that. Probably also 15 to 20. It's probably less now, actually. Both Bloodborne's and Dark Souls 1's DLCs. And they have like 5 to 6 bosses pretty much. I think Dark Souls 2 is probably lame because there's only 3 bosses per DLC, but the Season Pass wasn't that much, and they eventually have the Scholar of the First Sin, so if you've never played Dark Souls 2 before or bought it, you'd most likely buy that version and get a much better experience. But yeah, it's just so dumb. The Surge will have to have a ton of bosses. The area is not to be quite as repetitive, and the story wasn't even memorable. The story was so forgettable. I liked some of the lore and detail to the world, but after getting through such a headache and chore of a game, you just really didn't care at the end of it all. It just went right over the top of your head after that. You were more mad at the game and the developers behind it than you were thinking about anything cool, actually cool about it. Because there are cool ideas to their game, it's just the game's such an annoying process. They're gonna really have to do something big with this next one. They need more, they need some really unique ideas, and they keep messing up. And like I have a feeling Lords of the Fallen 2 will be something that's gonna happen. A lot of people have been talking about that, but I'm more looking forward to that because I know that it'll have more bosses. Lords of the Fallen actually wasn't that bad a game, but I can't say it's that great of a game. It's got problems, definitely. Nothing's perfect, but maybe more problems than usual. Thought the animations and the voice acting were kind of bad. And there were some glitches along the way, and it is kind of stiff and sluggish. I enjoyed it for the most part. You both missed. I missed a bunch too, but not as much as you. Oh, you got me! Oh my gosh! And now you're dead. Hello? Nope. Come here. No. Oh. Ow. Ew. Are you like a shark or something? I can't remember. Whoops. Hold on. Buddy here. And your other buddy. Come on. Ooh, you got me. Oh, dagnabbit. At least you're not gonna kill me with that move. Okay, your health. I hated when ooh, you actually got me. At least I can get my health back from you. There we go. See, that's a good enemy. That's a stinking side enemy for crying out loud. And I still knew I messed up and stinking could get through him. Beat him in the end. Even though I am high level. What level am I anyway? Yeah, 137. I play too much. I have another character that's like 100 something. Can't remember what level. But yeah, I kind of stopped playing that character and wanted to play this one. Because I really went into doing everything I could with this character. So I felt more satisfied with him. Also got the werewolf look down. This is Balthazar, and I used for my series, but I just basically wanted to talk about the Surge, though. Sorry I went into randomness with that. But yeah, the Surge is just... I'm really hoping, once again, Deck 13 is a company that I have hope for, and so is Focus Home Interactive, because they have some potentially awesome games. It's kind of like watching Piranha Bytes, where they have some potentially amazing games, and then they just screw up somewhere. I want to actually, I want to use a good example of a game from them. Whoops, I need to lock on when the right moment. Um, but yeah, Gothic was a big series, and I saw, I forgot the name of the YouTube channel, but, there was a YouTuber who goes um, over how Gothic did a lot of had the control set up and of Dark Souls before Dark Souls even existed, or even Demon Souls, as well as did things that made the Elder Scrolls look like a rip-off of its own game in a way, where they had like the whole Dragonborn almost kind of vibe going for Gothic 2. He even made it a joke in his video. It was like Derman Paradox, I think is the name of the channel. Really love that channel. But yeah, I think the big thing was where that series went to afterwards is... Oh, how'd I get all my files back? What the heck? I didn't even see that. Was it from picking up from them? Maybe, and I didn't notice. Oh, there's more guys. But yeah, it's just eventually down the lines they started to just fail. And they went into that offensive Gothic 3 Forsaken Gods, which he went over. And he even goes over, like, there's some YouTubers who really love Gothic 3, and I'm not going to deny their love of that game, but Derman Paradox went into some pretty good detail why that game isn't as good as the previous two, controls-wise and world-wise. The world is very empty everywhere else other than the NPCs, but even the NPCs, he demonstrated the problems with a lot of the quest lines. It's really like, it's like, wow, this world is so filled with life. Yeah, in the main towns, once you go outside, it's like, oh, there's a pack of wolves, and emptiness, and more emptiness, a pack of wolves, and you know what, this world's kind of boring and doesn't have much lore going for it. So that's kind of how it felt. And I played some of the Gothic, and then Arcania was just kind of like any other generic RPG. It was very straightforward, not much going for it. I own it, and I could do a Let's Play of it on this channel, but yeah, I didn't think it was particularly amazing, but it was definitely better than Gothic 3 in my opinion. Gothic 3 just really strayed. Ow! I don't give a crud. I don't give a crud. Do you see how much I'm not giving a crud, Dink? Yeah. The bloop sounds whenever they die. The bubbling little sounds. Yuck. But yeah, they just eventually went downhill, and then they thought they could make a successor in Risen, and we know how that turned out. The first Risen game, I will give credit, it's not as bad as the next two, but that's where it goes from there. It just gets worse and worse. It's just a disaster. And that's kind of why Elder Scrolls rose to the top, is because they actually took their game further and in a direction where it was more successful. They implanted some good ideas here and there, and it was able to thrive from all of that, where this game, the Gothic series didn't, and they tried to make Risen out of it, and Risen failed. And now Elix once again has potential, but oh, it was so glitchy and such, and had so many other problems, especially launch day. A lot of games do, but it still got some of those problems, and it shouldn't be priced the way it was at the time, especially with the condition it came in. It's probably better now, and I don't doubt it, and I think it's probably a better game to get than the Risen trilogy, and it's gone on sale a couple times. I almost got it once, but I held back on it because I don't know if I was fully ready to be dedicated to a game like that, so I held back. And I'll probably definitely get it sometime, just not now. Now's not the time. And hopefully they do better with the games in the future. They have hope. It's kind of like Deck 13 and Focus Home Interactive and such. they have hope. Their games are interesting. They have great ideas, but they spoil them and with all this other junk. No! I know there's a shark guy right around the corner over there. But, yeah, I had a lot of fun. Hopefully the Surge has more bosses. It fixes that gameplay problem I talked about with the combos and how many times you hit the button to hit an enemy on impact. And then it does like extra moves for some reason. And hopefully they implement some better ideas and fix some of the other problems people may have with the game, if anybody brings up any other problems about it. If you want a good review on it, Shammy did a good review on the Surge, and I definitely agree with that review. It's not... I don't think the game's bad. It's like a 6 out of 10, 5. It's very average. It's definitely doesn't horrify me as much as the first Evil Within game or the Order 1886. Those games were nightmares for me. In like kind of a Superman 64 sense when you think about it, or E.T. game sense, where it's just like an absolute nightmare and chore of games to get through. The Surge, I will at least say I would prefer to play if somebody put me in a room, locked me in a room and said, you have a choice between these three games, Evil Within, Order 1886, and Surge. I would prefer to play the Surge, even though I'd probably rage quit, how stupid it is. I almost did that too when I did my Let's Play. I got so frustrated with the third boss in the game. I loved the first and second boss. First one was very simple, but I loved the second, the firebug or whatever. But I did not like the third one, and the fourth boss was just like... stupid. I liked the last boss. The last boss wasn't bad, but dang. So dumb. So dumb. And after I found out that was the final boss, that's where I was like, wow, that was a fun boss. Wait a minute. That's the last boss? And I think I complained about it before I actually took on the boss. And was like, oh my goodness, this $60 for this? I know I put a lot of time into this game, but I probably wouldn't have if I'd known that, as well as if I wasn't so confused by the directions. The game just felt like a maze, and in the worst way possible. Dark Souls feels like a maze, but at least one that I can find my way through and learn from. It's just the Metrovania style, and I don't agree with, I can't remember the name of this channel either, but they do a lot of videos on, they did one on, trying to think. They did one on Metal Gear Survive and how, crud. No, it's not coming to me. Oh well, maybe if I find that channel, I'll link it or something. Yeah, I'm hoping the Surge does better than what we've seen previously. So, hopefully you got a lot of interesting things out of this, or whatever. And I will see you guys next time. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments below. Tell me what you want in the next video. Maybe something else to discuss. I don't know. Maybe one of those games, new games. What games you would like to see played on the channel or something. What would you want to see? Besides better editing, I'm hoping to get back to that because my editing hasn't been doing well, mostly because my computer has been down and I've been using PlayStations. And now I'm going to try and set up a Twitter account, as I've been saying in the previous video, so that I can get some of my Xbox videos on there in case something like this PC thing arrives again, or happens again, because I've been having problems with my PC, and yeah, it's just been really stupid lately. I'll probably need to get a new PC if things don't go over well, but that would still be delayed on like good edits to my video. That would still delay the edits to my videos. I mean, maybe there's a computer I could borrow from a friend that would help out. Maybe I should do that. It's just a pain in the butt to stinking set everything else back up the way it was. So, yeah, I'll look into that. Hopefully I can get things set up that way. And I I hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. If I've said that, goodbye again. Sorry. Bye.